Okay, welcome to our functionality demo and code walkthrough for our project. So we are choosing the option one, the big data processing toolbox. Yeah. So here is the terminal. You can see that all our service is basically running up, and uh, and yeah. So here is the GCP console, and we can see all the Kubernetes service have been deployed here, and so basically we have the web app. That's the main service. The entry points basically is a React front end application, and then we have the Spark cluster. We have one master node, one worker node, and we have the Jupyter, and we have the Jenkins and SonarQube container, and we also have the Hadoop cluster. We have one name node and two data nodes. Yeah, so that's basically all of it. And then we can like goes to the our web app front end to try different applications. So here we can choose the Hadoop, and then we goes to the Hadoop name node page, and we can see that we have two live nodes, two data nodes, and we can also double check that on this tab. We can see we have two data nodes here. So that's the Hadoop part, and then we can check the Spark. So here we can see in our Spark cluster we have one worker node. Yeah, and I think that's it. And then we can also check the Jupyter. The Jupyter takes some time. So basically, here is the Jupyter application. Yeah. So now I will pass the mic to my teammates Tongzhou.
All right, so I'm gonna show the Jenkins and SonarQube integration. So first, let's go to Jenkins homepage, and yeah, so the previous is already here. So just basically let me walk through this. So first, we need to go to Manage Jenkins, and then in the system part, we have to do some configurations over here. So basically, what happened was we added this SonarQube server as the name SQ1, and then we put the URL in, and the URL is from our Kubernetes, I think. So it's gonna be here. Let me just make sure those are correct. Here, so 5181. If that's correct, so I just keep using this. And so we need to set this up first, and then hit apply, hit save. Like the 4-3 arrow came up again, but like it's okay. We'll just continue.
Yeah, you already set it up, so it's fine.
Yeah. So since it's already set up.
But maybe just show
also,
maybe just show the pipeline.
Okay. Also, also there's another over here another setup step, and for the pipeline, what we did is we have this. we add this pipeline script from SCM, which is from GitHub, and I forked a dummy GitHub repo which contains like a Jenkins file and like the Jenkins setup in it. So here's the Jenkins file of how it look like. So first we want to find like any agent we want, and then we over here is the SonarQube part is like we use MVN clean to build the SonarQube with a specific Maven version, and then we want to pass in our login information of admin and admin to tell them like we are the admin. We don't need to prompt it to the user. We don't need a user token for this command. And so after we run this, let's go back, and let me just build it now. Let's see if it will build. All right.
You can click into it.
Yeah. So console output, just wait a little bit for it to build. Yeah. So it says success, and here is a success. Here's the link to the SonarQube. We can see like everything is passed, and overall code. It says like here's some security hotspots and code smells and stuff like that. So that's pretty much everything for SonarQube and Jenkins. I'm gonna pass back to Yang.
Okay, thank you, Tongzhou. So that's basically our functionality demos. Basically all the application is running correctly. So the next part we will talk about the code. So we will walk through the code base. Yeah. So here is our code base. We can see from this part in Visual Studio Code. So under our code root directory, we have 4 major folders. Please ignore this image folder. That's just some screenshots images for the README files. So, but I do also want to mention the README files. Basically, we list all our images and how to run the instructions on the README file. Also includes the Jenkins and SonarQube integration parts. We have some menu steps. We have listed those steps in our README. And so apart from that, is basically we have a web app. Tongzhou will talk about the Jenkins and SonarQube parts later. So I will talk about our web app and Terraform part. So the web app is actually super simple. It's just a React app generated by the Create React App CRI. And the app basically just have 4 dummy buttons. These 4 dummy buttons will redirect us to the different applications. So but when we run this application, this React app, we do need the environment variable to pass the application URLs to the app. Yeah, so here you can see it. And we do containerize this app. So here is the Docker file. Yeah. And another part is the Terraform. So the Terraform is basically the base structure of the Terraform project is basically we are referring from a previous homework. So basically we are using the homework's code as the base to set up the GCP Kubernetes cluster, and then we introduce more Kubernetes specific things. So instead of using YAML file, we are using Terraform styles Kubernetes script. So in each of these files, basically it contains a few things. It contains a deployments definition. It contains service definitions, and it also contains some static IP definitions. Yeah, for this web app, we doesn't have static IP, but for other service like the Spark, the Jupyter, the Jenkins, and Hadoop Nemnode service, they all have static IP reserved on the GCP. So basically, here is the web app. So basically, we pass the environment variables here to the containers, specific ports, and then define the web service. Basically, all the web service here is load balancer, and that's the web app. And here is the Spark. So the web app, the only thing I want to mention is that we have like 4 environment variables that's passing those static IP that we reserve from GCP to passing to the applications. And next one will be the Spark. The Spark, we have 1 service for Spark Master and 1 service for Spark Worker. So the Spark Master, it basically needs to expose 2 ports. That's the 8080 and the 7077. Yeah, so the 7077 is for other worker nodes to register, and the 8080 is for the UI. Yeah, and we are using public image for this one. And similar on worker node. So the worker node, so the worker service is basically we have to set the Spark mode in worker and then pass the master URL to it with 7077 as the port. And the Jupyter is pretty simple. Basically, we are just reusing one of our previous homework container Docker image to run it. And the Hadoop part, the Hadoop is basically we have Nemnode and Datanode. The image part, we are using the a public image, and then we have used some environment variable to pass it in to the name node, and here is the data node. Data node, we are also using public image, and here this Qualcomm's default FS. I think this one and the service precondition, these two environment variable is pretty useful for the data node to find the address of the master node, the name node. And another useful thing is here, this configuration. Basically, it allows us to it allows the data node to register without a real host name here. So yeah, and I think that's pretty much of the parts that I would like to mention.
All right. So additionally, I want to mention like how did we build the Docker files for Jenkins SonarQube scanner and for SonarQube. So both of these Docker files, we use the checkpoint, the example checkpoint as a reference point when we come through it. But like we made some additions to it. So first, let's look at the Jenkins one. So first, we figure like we need to install TINI as well. So we install it in the apt-get, and then we find like we need to install Maven because SonarQube, like we use Maven to trigger SonarQube, so we install Maven in the Docker file as well over here. And what others is like we found out like for the plugins, we not only need Sonar and GitHub, we also need this workflow aggregator to generate the pipeline for the in Jenkins for SonarQube. So we install that as well, and that's pretty much everything we have over here. And then we have let me talk about the SonarQube one. So for the SonarQube one is all of the top things are from the checkpoint, and
it's from the sample solutions.
Yeah, it's my sample checkpoint. And then what we add is like we add another environment variable saying the Sonar force authentication is false. This solution comes from a SonarQube forum, because like before we thought like run echo will work, but actually this does not. So we have to set it as the environment variable. And other than that, I think we
can also talk about the Jenkins file.
Oh yeah, let me do it later. Yeah, I think that's like everything we have changed for the Docker file.
Yeah.
And for the Jenkins file, just like I mentioned when we did the demo. So first, we want any agent to be able to work on it, and then we pass the login and password in this with SonarQube environment comment, which is when we're triggering SonarQube. So we do not need to log in anymore. Like we do not need the user token anymore. Yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Tongzhou. So in the last words, I want to emphasize that we do have refer to other people's work. So here is our reference. So we thanks to our classmates to share their sample solutions with us. And we also refer to two YouTube videos to set up to do the Jenkins and SonarQube integrations. And here is our dummy projects, original dummy project. Yeah, here's the link. And for the actual dummy project that we use on the Jenkins pipeline, you can find the links here. And that's everything. Thanks for watching.